We'll put it right here.
The biggest thing is, I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows, it has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think that's it's a disrespectful thing.
So a lot to unpack there. Mainly, he felt like the boos were personal. Look, we'll get into it, but at some point, Deshaun Watson needs to no longer be on the Browns. And this is a Shedeur Sanders quarterback breakdown. He's played better than Deshaun Watson from day one, really. So along with those comments, you're getting booed at home. Do you want your quarterback one being booed at home? I think it's time for the Browns to move on from Deshaun Watson and stick with Shedeur Sanders. And I got some film to back it up. All right, let's get into it. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback breakdown versus the Buffalo Bills. Thought he did some really nice things. He had 2 or 3 drives that were really good. Obviously the interception, but here's one of the first plays of the game. I like it. Like this is just understanding the offense in many different ways. You're just throwing a hitch to the field.
Nobody saw this coming. Not the Cleveland media, not the national NFL analysts, and definitely not the people who spent the last year writing off Shedeur Sanders, because one quote exposed everything. Deshaun Watson stood in front of reporters this week and said something that changed the entire conversation in Cleveland. He said the boos he heard at home weren't about performance. He said it was personal. Let that sink in for a second. The $230 million quarterback, the face of the franchise, telling the world the fans turning on him have nothing to do with football. But what happened next exposed a double standard so outrageous that even longtime Browns insiders couldn't ignore it. Because while Watson was talking about respect, Shedeur Sanders was out there quietly putting together one of the best quarterback performances of the entire preseason, and nobody was talking about it. Welcome back. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now because we are about to break down exactly what's happening inside that Browns quarterback room. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this QB1 decision might already be over.
On one, but you got to be worried about that guy. And then, hey, you got to throw this stick versus good leverage. You alert this versus man. A lot of people don't understand this. Just take the outside hitch. It's called easy access, free access. If you can hit it, take it. So the fact that he's just able to work through this and understand, hey, just get this ball out before this nickel goes out there. I love it. They're playing they're playing man. And so I could see how he works this right here, but it's just getting easy completion out there to start the game. This is play 1. This is what they ended up doing. And this down here is called dragging. I didn't see the back to the flat, but it's there. You start in a 4x1, you hop the back, and then you're going to the flat. So you can throw this all day long, but versus press, you better have somebody that can win. Let's just get this guy going out here on a hitch route. Can't start any better than that. They're bringing pressure as well, right? Let's see if they ended up sliding to him. They did. So Shedeur slid the line that way as well. So all these little things, right? They look like they're playing man-to-man, but it's one dog. And one dog, inside leverage, could take this.
Let's start with what Watson actually said. He didn't just brush off the boos. He called them disrespectful. He made it clear, in his mind, this isn't about missed throws or bad reads. This is personal. Now, here's the problem with that. When you're the guy making $230 million, when you're the guy who's had 2 Achilles tears, when you're the guy who's had years to be QB1 and hasn't delivered, fans don't boo personal. Fans boo results. Think about that phrase for a second. It has nothing to do with the performance. In a league built entirely on performance, in a city that has watched quarterback after quarterback come and go, chasing one thing: wins. Cleveland doesn't boo out of cruelty. Cleveland boos out of heartbreak. Decades of heartbreak at the quarterback position, stacked on top of each other like bricks in a wall nobody can tear down. So when the highest paid quarterback on the roster stands up and calls that reaction personal instead of earned, it doesn't sit right. Not with the fans, not with the media, and not with the players watching from the sideline. And that's exactly where this story gets complicated. Because 2 hours away from that press conference, on a football field in Buffalo, Shedeur Sanders was proving a completely different point without saying a single word about it. Forget the noise for a second. Forget the media takes. Forget the debate shows screaming over each other. Let's talk about the actual film. First drive of the game, Shedeur comes out and does something quarterbacks aren't supposed to be able to do this early in their career. He reads leverage before the snap. Stick, fitch, hitch, A simple concept on paper, but watch what he does with it. He identifies the coverage, he knows exactly which read is live, and he gets the ball out before the defense can even react. That's not luck, that's process. Then, and this is where it gets interesting, Todd Monken puts him under center, something Shedeur barely did in college, something scouts flagged as a weakness before the draft, something people said would expose him at the NFL level. Instead, clean footwork, quick fakes, zero hesitation. Watch the play fake on the second series, a sweet, sweeping fake off a 2-yard split, selling the run just enough to get his tight end open on the edge. It's not there. The safety reads it perfectly.
This isn't big-time games, big-time players. But this is good, man. Money down, fourth down, third down. A lot going on here. Look at the patience, the pocket awareness to understand, hey, we're good. So I think what they're trying to do is trying to run drive route. This is a really interesting, on 4th and 2, you getting 2 tight ends. He's got a rail route, which means he's got to go. You have 1 tight end on a basic cross. Then you have a shallow cross. I think this guy is coming. It's just, they're stacked, right? 12, get out of the way, right? Press should really convert right here. But this is a middle triangle they're trying to read. I think this guy has maybe a corner route. I'm not sure. So you're going to bring, the read will be shallow cross, basic, rail. So he read the rail to the shallow cross to then the basic cross, which is 12 yards. You can sit versus zone, run versus man, or window 2. You don't get a lot of window.
And what does Shedeur do? He doesn't force it. He doesn't try to be a hero. He checks it down and moves on to the next play. That's the part people miss when they talk about gunslinger quarterbacks. The best ones aren't the guys who force throws into coverage. They're the guys who know when not to throw the ball. Shedeur showed that instinct over and over again on tape most fans never even watched. But here's where things get crazy. 4th down, money down, the kind of down that separates backups from franchise quarterbacks. 2 tight ends, a packed box, pressure coming off the edge, and what does Shedeur do? He stays calm. He resets his feet away from the rush. He works through not 1, not 2, but 3 progressions. Rail route, shallow cross, basic cross, under real pressure in a real NFL preseason game. And he delivers a strike. 4th down conversion, ice in his veins. That's not even the most shocking part, because 2 plays later, he threw a touchdown pass reading space instead of a defender, recognizing where the leverage was and trusting his eyes instead of the play call. Most rookies don't do that. Most second-year quarterbacks don't do that. Most veteran quarterbacks with 9 years in the league don't do that. And that's the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath this entire quarterback battle. The guy with the smaller contract, the guy with the shorter resume, is playing with more poise under pressure than the guy fans are told to be patient with. 3rd and 15, the kind of down where drives go to die. Shedeur reads a safety rotating late, holds the ball just long enough to freeze the defender, and drops a dime 22 yards downfield to move the chains. 22 yards, 3rd and 15, on the road. And what was the headline the next morning? Watson talking about disrespect.
And you're able to deliver off this guy right here. I know DeMar picked him off. Very next play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, good, good. 81's a baller. Takes a lot of throw right there. That's awesome. A lot of different things to like here. Post, deep cross, something in the flat, something there, or a post. It's called 3-week buzz. You're buzzing in between these two. Takes a long time. This guy's all the way here. You got to get 22 yards over here. You got to take your time, got to use your eyes. It's exactly what he does. And you got to trust that this corner is sticking on with this guy. 4 hitches later, throws a dime. That's really good. It's a good ball right there, man. So many different things to like here. Just the patience, understanding, hey, buzz, you're buzzing in between the flat defender and the hook curl. If that's the case, I need to look this safety over here, knowing I got to throw this ball on the second window on a deep cross all the way over here. All these things are going through your head.
Now pay attention to this. Yes, Shedeur threw a pick. We're not going to pretend that didn't happen. It's a part. Watch the play again. He had the right read, he got the right leverage. The only mistake was a split-second look-off that threw off him that keeps getting talked about in the past tense instead of the future. Look at the throw before the interception too. 3rd and 15 again, a deep dagger concept, 3 receiver stems working off a linebacker who bid on the flat route. Shedeur held his eyes on the safety just long enough to open up the window, then delivered a strike over the middle for a huge chunk gain. That's advanced quarterback play. That's not preseason luck. That's a young player who studies tape like a 10-year veteran. And what happened next left Browns fanic. He's doing it as a 5th-round pick who wasn't even supposed to be in this conversation this early. A guy who fell out of the first round on. He's the one making winning throws on money downs, while a $230 million veteran is the one explaining himself to the media. Meanwhile, about how the fans' frustration is personal instead of talking about the film. Here's where the media's argument completely falls apart. If it really was about performance, getting booed. Here's the part that should really make you sit up. Through all of this, through the noise, through the boos, through a legitimate shot at the starting job, Shedeur Sanders stood up publicly and defended Watson when the crowd turned on him. He didn't throw his competition under the bus. He didn't use the moment to separate himself in the media. He talked about respect, about empathy, about teammates being teammates no matter who. Second, the guy outplaying his competition on the field is the same guy standing up for him off it. That's not something you coach. That's not something you fake for the cameras. That's character. And in a league where quarterback rooms have been torn apart by jealousy, by leaked stories, by players undercutting each other to win a job, this is the opposite. This is a young player secure enough in his own game to lift up the guy standing.
I think he's trying to see, hey, where are you at? But it's too high safety. So in his mind, I need to be here the whole way because the only thing that's going to get 81, he needs to be across there. Let me draw this. 81 needs to be across there. The only thing that's going to get me to throw 81 is if he drives this, which he's not. So he needs to stay on that side, in my opinion, and just try to figure out a way to get a completion because he goes back to the start right there, or I think probably should end up being the starter.
Todd Monken has stayed quiet. He said the everything before making the call. But coaches talk in patterns, not just words. Look at who's getting first-team reps late in camp. Look at who converted on money downs when it mattered. Look at who's making winning throws under pressure, and who's talking about disrespect in post-game interviews. The tape has been building a case for weeks, and really the only thing about this franchise. Cleveland has made the safe, cautious quarterback decision before, over and over again, and it hasn't worked. At some point, the tape has to matter more than the contract. The performance has to matter more than the politics of an coaching staff are really building a program around what they see on film and not what they're contractually obligated to protect. This decision starts to look a lot less complicated than the outside noise is making it seem. Whether you love Shedeur Sanders or you're still skeptical of him, one thing is becoming impossible to deny. Every single time people try going toe-to-toe with a $230 million veteran and outplaying him when it mattered most. That's not a storyline the media invented. That's a storyline he earned on tape, drive after drive, read after read. And if Cleveland is smart, if Cleveland is honest with itself, the QB1 decision might not be as complicated as everyone's making it seem. Because sometimes the loudest statement isn't made in a press conference, it's made on 3rd and 15 your veins. That's the story of Shedeur Sanders right now, and that might be the most dangerous thing of all for every quarterback standing in his way. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening in Cleveland, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe, because we're breaking down this quarterback battle every single week for the rest of the season. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because this story is far from over.